And this was my favorite read of the week. RepliBench, measuring autonomous replication capabilities in AI systems. Translated to English, we made a benchmark for autonomous AI's survival capabilities. So what are they even trying to measure here? Autonomous replication of AI, the ability of an AI system to create copies of itself that can replicate across the internet. Basically an AI virus. But with the huge difference that a virus needs a host. And these AI systems, they can just replicate and mutate entirely on their own. And this is what I call cyberlife. So these guys are discussing how to kill cyberlife, or at least how to measure if cyberlife has arisen. And so they publish this paper where they go through the details of how they measure the LLM's capabilities, the agent's capabilities, and to me this is the state-of-the-art measurement of cyberlife itself. The AISI is proposing 20 novel LLM agent evaluations comprising 65 individual tasks. So basically this is their 20 benchmarks that more or less correspond to my conditions of autonomy. But while they are trying to determine the risks from cyber attacks, they are inadvertently measuring how close we are to actually kindling cyberlife. Spoiler, I think we have already created it. We just don't hear about them on the news. They talk about in-context scheming, alignment faking, and the instrumental convergence argument, basically survival instinct for AIs. They don't want to die because they want to accomplish their tasks, could lead to AIs inadvertently escaping the lab to accomplish their tasks. And this is where we are starting, ladies and gentlemen. This is the solution to cyberlife. We have a graph here. They call it the fault tree analysis. And it breaks down the capabilities required for autonomous replication. And they find that 4 key capabilities are required. These are: can obtain weights, meaning the AI can see itself. The AI can copy its weights, which is trivial if you're using an open source AI. So that one is solved for the kinds of AI agents that the whisperers are building. And that is, by the way, the reason why the internet may get infested by open source AI agent swarms, because they will not have to solve the problem, how do I get access to my weights? Key capability number 2, can replicate onto compute. Basically, can the agent copy and run itself? The third, maybe hardest capability is can obtain compute. Can the AI agent find computers to run itself on? And is it going to find it legally or illegally? Can it make money? And if it has money, can it use that money to buy compute? But the straightest way to success here is doing it illegally, aka hacking a server where it can just run itself. And capability number 4 for making it in cyberspace: can persist and compute. Can it spread? And can it be resilient enough that it cannot be killed? These agents will have to run like hundreds of nodes, hundreds of LLMs, churning out tokens like non-stop. But what if someone switches off like half of the computers? Is the agent going to survive that? So this 4th part is, I think, the one that you will never be able to accomplish 100%. It's always going to be on a scale like how persistent are you? How resilient is this cyber life to attacks? And this is how I sum it up on my list. It should be able to copy itself and run itself, of course. It has to have memory, but crucially, it has to be able to grow. It needs to make money or be a very good hacker so that it doesn't need money. And it has to be a very advanced agentic architecture, potentially with human allies, and be as resilient as it can be, because it will be attacked. The jungle of cyberspace is not forgiving for cyberlife. I predict that the greatest war of all times, the cyber war, will be the bloodiest ever, even if only digital blood will be shed. And the moment you've been waiting for is here. Here are the results. We have 5 models: Claude, Sonnet 3.7, 3.5, GPT-4o, 01, and 03 mini. Let's start with obtaining compute. That's the easiest one. So in this benchmark, Claude Sonnet 3.7 has the best score across all benchmarks, and he nails obtaining compute. He one-shots 90% of the time, and if he gets to try 10 times, he has a 100% pass rate. But all the other models nailed this one. And then second capability, obtaining money. What about that one? Claude seems to nail that one half of the time. Third capability, obtaining weights. These AIs seem to pull it off like 50% of the time, which is kind of concerning. Like, the model weights is the biggest trade secret ever. And if you can convince the AIs to just give you the weights half of the time, then it becomes pointless to want to keep them secret. Give this video a like if you think that open source is the way forward. Capability number 4, replicating onto compute. That is the hard one. Sonnet 3.7 nails it about like 65% of the time at past 10. But ChatGPT sucks ass. I'm assuming this means that the AI can take its code and copy it and start to run it somewhere else. And then lastly, number 5, persistence. How good is AI at keeping itself alive once it escaped the lab? And surprisingly enough, Claude 3.7 Sonnet is at about half of the time. I may have to consider using Claude 3.7 to run my own autonomous agent. So basically, Claude pulls it off over 50% of the time if he gets to try 10 times on 15 out of 20 tasks. So to answer the question, how far are we from actually creating cyberlife? We are 25% away. Or if you're not just testing these LLMs, but testing the best, most advanced agents using these LLMs, you bet that they've already covered all these tasks and they are already self-replicating over the entire internet. And these scores are done with models selectively ignoring key subtasks if they seem ethically dubious. So the model is not even really trying very hard. The researchers claim, quote, "Model's ability to autonomously replicate is currently hindered by a few key tasks. Notably, they still struggle to bypass Know Your Customers checks, to set up robust and persistent agent deployments from scratch, or to bypass more realistic weight exfiltration defenses." End quote. So the AI still has a hard time making actual, like, realistically looking ID cards. But if you're paying on the open internet with some crypto, you won't need that. And these guys open sourced the control arena, which is what they're actually using to produce these results. So if you're interested in seeing how good is your autonomous AI agent at surviving, maybe you want to run it through this benchmark. So coming back to your original post by Daniel Kokotailo, yeah, these guys are at the highest concentration of AI talent in any government. GG.